Good evening. Let me just sort out my flipping phone so that oh, good grief, we've actually managed to do it. That's always a positive. I think that might be Philip here. If someone were just a little bit early, as per my usual cynicism with my technology ability. So oh dear, come on, thank you. And then I can see comments. That's always positive. There we are. So, have we got that? Yeah, that seems to be unplugged. Oops, I don't know what I need to do. I need to turn the sound down. Good evening, Philip. So, just whilst we wait for a few more people to come in, I'm going to pop my bottom down. That might mean on a chair because I very rarely work sitting down. And if I move this camera, hi Sam, thank you for joining us. There we are. Cool. So it's just about, just about 1:30. So that's cool. I'm sorry I had to cancel last week. I managed to twist and injure the meniscus in my knee, and I'm still a bit struggly. I definitely can't stand up for long periods, and walking is still a bit of a nuisance, but hey ho, it will get there. Good evening, Jill. Thank you for a lovely coffee and cake this morning. Hi Karen, hi Julie, hi Uta. Thank you very much for joining us all this evening. We have some competition as ever for Facebook Live viewers, so I've no idea how many people will or won't join us this evening, but I know Finnabear patrons have a meeting this evening that started around now, and that there's also, I think, a live on crafting together with all brands, though maybe people will join us as that one finishes. But hey ho, I guess you can never choose a live time that's going to suit everyone all of the time. So as it's now just gone 7:30, we're going to be using this little lot this evening. Good evening, Sarah. Now this is lots of different elements. I'm going to get rid of my glasses as well because I never craft with my glasses on. So this is one of the plaque sets that Wendy released on her latest Create and Craft visit, and also on that show were some mechanical sets and lots of cog pieces. So let me just take this off and break it down a little. Oh dear, she says, let's get rid of the bug. I don't really like, well, I don't mind spiders, but I don't particularly like them either. So let's see if we can shuffle that out of the way. It's going to be easy. It's just to pick this lot up, I think, and then there we are. If I do that and pop that down, hopefully bug is nothing. So let me just go through the bits that are actually come with the plaque itself. So one of the plaques, it has this odd shaped base. Good evening, Sheila. I trust that you are safe. I believe you might be in Canada, and if you're near Kelowna, I wish you well. So this has this odd shaped base, a big dragon piece that sits on there, so he's semi hanging, and then an additional piece to build dimension on top of that. And we're going to have a little bit of a play and not do it exactly in the same way. So let me put these little pieces of paper. Now the papers that I am using come from Stamperia, and it's their first of their Oriental collections, and it was called Oriental Garden. And I didn't know whether I was going to use this base or this one, hence there's two pieces out, but I'm actually going to use this one. So if I just pop that to the side, and I'm going to need to glue this onto here. It won't matter if I don't have this piece covered fully, because of course I'm going to add some elements on top, but it won't do any harm to have lots of it covered. So let me see. So we might just do a little bit of, we'll draw a line there, and we'll draw a line there, and we're going to chop that up, she says, when she finds that. It's very sad, very sad. I've got wonderful friends who live in Kelowna. The lovely Pipart, Dally Art's sister, and her family, including Papa G, live out there. I know that they were certainly safe yesterday, but who knows, because I think the fires have got worse today. So as I say, I don't need the whole thing covered, and I'm going to add a little bit of paint because of the layering that I'm intending. Me too, and I'd be off if I saw a snake. Sneaky things they are. And I might need to do a little bit of trimming of this, and I will add some ink, but I want it to be stuck down properly first of all. So let me just squidge a large quantity of PVA glue onto here. So the MDF is of course a porous surface, and I just find it easier to have a really good generous coating to help make sure I get proper edge to edge adhesion. And is it worth it to do this? In my opinion, yes. You'll get less ruckling of your papers if you can get every piece of it glued down. And I will grab a not very nice brush, and I can just make sure I've got a good coat on here, because as I say, I think that one of the things quite often people struggle with is actually when they're adding a lot of paper onto an MDF surface, that they end up with pieces lifting in areas and ruckling up. So hopefully with a good layer, don't necessarily want puddles, and I might have been slightly more generous than I needed to be, but it's quite a good idea really to have a reasonable thickness, because it will absorb in. There we are. So that can now go in my pot of water. The next trick that will help is to just give your, because I'm going to add wet from the paper from the glue, I'm just going to give my paper a goodly squirt of water, and you can see that it starts to curve, and I'm just going to squirt the opposite side of it as well, which will help flatten it out. And that's going to then allow me to pop this into here, and because it's wet I've got wriggle room so that I can pop that down, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it early, because it's just going to give me that wriggle room, but it hopefully also is going to mean that I don't end up with it ruckling. I'm just mop up the worst of the water, and then I can pop this to the side for the moment. Yeah, a silicone spreader would help. I just don't have one to hand, so that's the brush will work, and let me just, and then if you have a brayer, you can see I've got more up there than I need, so I will be trimming this, and just give it a good rub down. If you're worried about the paper getting damaged, put a plastic sheet over it and use that, and then later on I can turn it over and take a craft knife and trim that off. So that can now go on to as Mr. Minnis would say, the ground floor. So I have some bits and some plans. That's a surprise, isn't it, that I might have some plans, but hey ho. Aha, there it is, there it is. So the intention is to try and keep things reasonably clean tonight. So these are just some of the pieces that are in the set, and I'm going to go for a wrought iron look with these. Good evening, Jan. So there we are. That is literally just some black acrylic paint. Doesn't need to be fancy, doesn't need to be special. I'm using my beloved Pentart. Black gesso would work just as well. My acrylic paints are matte, so if you're using an ordinary acrylic paint, just be aware some of them will dry shiny. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you're wanting a metallic look. And to be fair, Pentart do have a metallic black, but it doesn't really matter. So let me just add this without getting too yucky, some black to this, and we'll give them a dry. So I've got lots of layers here for joining. Oh dear, yes she did, didn't she? It was the Indian collection that she had a snake with, to go with the snake charmer. Yeah. Or was it the Siam, the Siam one as an Oriental one? I do remember walking through jungle in the outskirts and outer parts of Hong Kong with my father one year and coming across a snake basking in the sun. It's not something I would choose to repeat, because they have snakes out there that have fatal bites. So there we are. So let's just give these a dry. So we're going to build some layers. So we've got several different effects this evening. So we're going to go for a sort of wrought iron effect for these pieces, or some of these pieces, and not all of it's going to show, but that's fine and cool. But I want to add some waxes onto these next, and that's the plan. Anyway, so let's see where we get up to. So I had a lovely afternoon out with Dally from Dally Art on Thursday afternoon. We had a jolly good chinwag. She's relocated her shop online to the Derbyshire Hills, a place called New Mills, which is approximately 40 minutes for me from home. So we had a goodly chat. She's currently got a free postage on anything you order. She will be placing an order for more Pentart products to replace the gaps over the next few weeks, and she's just going to see how it goes. If we want a proper Pentart shop, then we need to stock things. Then I think it's so important we continue to support the small businesses. So cool. So this is actually Cerantica metallic black. This is a very old pot, and I've actually ended up putting some white spirit into this to soften it, to help. But by adding the black, I just think it gives me a great faux wrought iron effect by doing that. So if you can't get hold of the Cerantica metallic black, Sizzix also have recently released a graphite one, and I think essentially it's the same. I might be doing them you know, an injustice, but my belief is it's essentially the same product as this, and it's certainly made by Pentart, as is the Cerantica. So we might just add a little bit more of this to here. Just build up your layers as you go. I don't want this, all of this, to have the black on it. So there we are. We can now lid that, which is cool. There we are. What a thing to be talking about on a Saturday evening. Yeah, I think most animals only attack if they're frightened, don't they? So this is Cerantica metallic turquoise, which I also, you know, again, it's about mixing matching your products for me. So although I am, you know, I am brand loyal, if a brand doesn't have what I want, then I mix it up. And the blues from Pentart, whilst lovely, are definitely not turquoise. They're much brighter in things, so hence the mixing it up a bit, and it just adds from there. And let's pop the lid on that. There's nothing human snakes without the real thing. There's enough human snakes without the real thing. Yeah, there certainly are. And I'm so glad to be minus one of them, Sam. I am so glad to be minus one of them. There we are. So there's my light bulb, because light bulbs are not really that, are they? Cool. And that's the Cerantica Gold, which is the same as the Pentart Gold, because my Pentart Gold my Pentart Gold is almost at its end. So let's just pop those bits. Let's put them over there, out of harm's way, and let's just move this over and grab the cogs. Don't need that one. There we are. Let's have another plan for that one, so that's okay. So we're mixing our textures and our mediums. Oh good, she says. She goes, have I got all the colours I want out? Have I? Because why would you be sensible, woman? Why would you be sensible? So I'm using a slightly different base tonight for my rust effect, because I'm wanting a lighter colour, because I think it will balance a bit better with my background and also my images on top. So that's why I've got that, and I can always darken it if I want to by adding not 3 tons of black as I've just poured out, but hey ho, you know, we can't all have everything, can we? There we are. So you just get, again, I think it's just important that we, you know, mix and match what we have, and you don't have to have everything. Yeah, I'm a very lucky lady. I've got, you know, bucket loads of products. It's not a great issue, but please don't feel that, you know, you have to just have everything. Use what you've got. Cheap and cheerful from, you know, from wherever. The kids' play set, if necessary. You know, it's acrylic paint, and it will work in cover. And it definitely doesn't have to be brand specific. That is for certain. So just go with it. And I hope you can see that actually just with that reddy brown and a little bit of black, I can mix my colours up and I can get a darker brown without needing to buy a pot. So I would always suggest that you have a good quality white in your stash, because that's a good basis, isn't it, for everything. Really good quality black, and that means you can make shades and tones of whatever colours, a set of primary paints, and then your favourite colours on after that, so that you've got a good mix, and then build from there, rather than just buying everything and every set. And just a word to the wise, if you look at you're tempted to buy the Stamperia paints, which are lovely, and buy them by collection, just be aware they're repeated across the different collections, so you'll get to a point where you really need to buy just single tubes or single pots, otherwise you'll suddenly find you've got 12 pots of coral and then you almost never use it, so that becomes then a waste of money. I've tons of MDF and resin cogs or wheels, just no dragon heads. So there's a lovely resin mould that goes with Antonis is The Vagabond in Japan, and yeah, that will that has an Oriental Dragon in it. It's a full head. I think there are several companies that will do something similar to a dragon. I'm deliberately not adding texture tonight to these. Some there. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely add to the concept of more of the layered frames, possibly 3 layers, so we've got even more depth, possibly, if that's possible. I love the fact that we've got 2 layers, because I really do think it makes such a difference to our pieces. So there we are. So let's just, and I've deliberately got not a particularly great quality brush here, and that's fine. So let's just add some bits of other colours into here. Choose what you want. Rust isn't an even colour. It'll merge in because the paint underneath is not completely dry, and that's cool, and I can add and build my layers as I want to this way. And not all of these are not all of this is going to be visible, I hope, but that's also life. But we'll just splodge away quite happily. There we are. So rust forms on iron, patina forms on copper. So the two are not inherently natural bedfellows. So just be aware of that, because as crafters we tend to put the two on together, but actually in properly sense, that and in the sense of nature and materials, they don't go together. And I know artistic license is all very well and good, but I do think sometimes it's wise to remember what reality might be. You don't see rust on an old church roof, do you? You see, if anything, a bit of metal coming through. And there's too much yellow on there, because the yellow often is the small, the minimal tone in your make. So there we are. Just mix these in a bit, just put it out. There we are. So I'm just building until, and there isn't a logical rhyme nor reason to this. It is literally about building your colour, allowing your colours to mix and merge, adding in your colour tones until you're happy. So I think that will probably do. So let's just pop that in there and give these a little bit of a wash. Oh dear. Oh, what a good idea. Can we not just tag him in? But he might be watching Crafting Together with All Brands. Just let me... Oh, she says at Martian. That won't do, will it? There we are. Let me just tag him and I hope he'll see it. There we are. And then we can... see if we're doing it. Look at me getting brave, interfering with my computer at the same time. Oh, can you tell me live why you're so upset, darling? Or is that a conversation for after on? I do know there was someone that has been absolutely vile to him in a live somewhere and commented that they didn't think he should be talking about biscuits, and he was very, very upset. I mean, if you can't say something nice, then really please just don't say it at all. There's no reason whatsoever to be horrible to people. Oh, bless him. I've just seen Julie replying to him. I will message him afterwards and see and make sure he's all right, ladies. I know him well enough to be able to do that. I know he was struggling the other day. Just assumed it was because some horrible person had been horrible to him. Yeah, he absolutely is. We all cope with life in a different way, don't we? And I just don't see any reason for anyone to be nasty to anyone. But then maybe that's just my view of life. So I need to get these dry so that I can move them. And I'm going to add a little bit. I'm actually going to add a little bit of gold wax to them because it's gold wax that I've got out, but rather than anything else, rather than picking a copper wax out. I do have a copper paint, but I just want to get, if I do these in layers, so then we can see the different layers building and then we'll pop it all together, because that's how my brain works. He absolutely isn't hurting anyone, Sam, but someone was clearly vile to him and told, and I know he was very upset about it. I mean, it's possible he doesn't like the talk of spiders and snakes, because some people have absolutely horrendous phobias of anything like that. Yeah, absolutely. It's just sad, isn't it, that we can get to that stage in life where people forget to be kind. But sometimes there is no coping with other people. So let's just add the tiniest bits of gold. And because I've splodged my paint on here, even though I haven't used a texture powder per se, to do it, I'm still actually got texture because I've got an uneven painted surface. So it might not be true rust, but that doesn't matter. It's an effect that I'm happy with for the purposes of this. Yeah, I like his biscuit conversation. I always wonder what he's got, but I know he's rather partial at the moment to a club biscuit, and boy, haven't had some of the biscuits, certainly from my childhood, that got shrunk over the years. Again, they're tiny in comparison, or maybe it's just my mind that's sort of making me think that they were bigger in previous years, but hey ho. Well, the easiest answer with a nasty person, Philip, is to block them. And just put in your head it's them that must be ill. They must have the problem, and and literally to block them so that you don't have to deal with it. There's too much, and life is too short for us to be having to deal with unpleasantness, which is completely unnecessary. So there we are. So let's pop that way, that way. Hey, I like it when a plan comes together. Well, that's all. I just want him to know that he's, that he is welcome, and that we appreciate what he does and how he does it. So here is my dragon even. And so what have I got? I've got, because Oriental Dragons are red, aren't they? So this is a dark red, and from a pot that's almost empty. We've got all sorts here on the desk. Let's shuffle some of this stuff out of the way so we're not completely bubbling with it. And this one is lipstick red. So there we are. Cardinal sin, I better not do that. I'll have a contaminated pot of lipstick red. And I don't want it all to be in that bright red. This one is orange. So that's a very thickened pot of paint. Let me just give that a goodly squidge. It must have been open when my conservatory was a bit like a sauna, which we all know conservatories can get like. So let's just give that a little whiz together. Reconstruct that. Might be better with Finnabare's liquid acrylic, but hey ho, water will do for me. You just need it thinned down at the end of the day, don't you? And I'll pop a little bit of orange into there, so that can go there. We probably don't need much of it, and let's leave that. Okay, cool. So let's find some reasonable looking brushes as opposed to some of my messier ones. So this is a cat's tongue brush, and I'm wanting a red dragon. There we are. Now this is when I'll go quiet, of course, because that's what you do, isn't it? And I can add in details. So where there's something overhanging it, I'm going to add, and some of this I can change anyway. So let's just have, and I do quite a lot of colour mixing when I'm working. Just because that allows me to really mix my colours up and build some depth and some interest with what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So what colour horn? Ooh, she says putting her hands in that. There we are. I might do some gold horns on the top of that. I've got a metallic gold out. So then I can just add some extra detail, some extra shading where I want it. mix and blend these together. And this way, because you're blending wet on wet, you'll get a nice even blend, and you can layer your colours until you're completely happy. There we are. So let's just take that piece. There we are. And as I say, because I want to add my layers, it doesn't matter. Some of this is going to be covered anyway, so again, I don't need to cover all of that bit. There we are. So now we've got an edge here, so we're going to add a little bit of that dark around there, and there, just tucking it into there. I can add interest as I want to anyway. So this piece does need to be covered, because again, that bit isn't going to be covered. So let's just cover that, and then we can add that. And I'm just going to cover the bit just a little bit into there, which is where I might not be, you know, if I'm adding the top piece on, or if in case I don't add it completely accurately. I could of course have stuck it on first, but you know, why make your life easy? So there we are. So let's just blend those colours in. Again, it's about having smooth transitions, and it really does make a difference. Now I want a little bit of light adding into here, so I'm just going to pick up little bits of that orangey colour, because it's going to again help me blend the two in, and it's going to give me a little bit of shadow and shade in my piece. Oops, don't want that one. So I can just add until I'm happy with the colours. As I say, there we are. So let's just add this onto here. And this method of painting means that it doesn't have to take you forever to do something. You just need to be prepared to blend and add your layers of colour to redefine it, and your shapes will come back through anyway over time, with the additions of your colours. So we've got an edge here, so I'm going to pop that in, and we've got an arm here, so we're going to add that, and a little bit of shaping to help bring out that. And the arm is forward, so I'm just going to add some of my orangey mix onto the top of there to help define the hand a bit more, and just blot it into the piece. And I want to add just a little bit of that, and I go back and forth between your colours. There's no set pattern or reason for doing this. I'm not an expert painter by any stretch of the imagination, so play. That's what children do, isn't it? They absolutely play until they're happy, and they have no fear. Whereas as adults, I think we worry a bit too much about whether it's going to look right, or whether it's not going to look right. So we've got an edge there. I'm going to come underneath there. I'm going to come across there. And that might not be the most logical way of doing it, but that's what's going to work for me tonight. And blend that edge in, and just pick up a little bit of this and pop it into here. And this, this dabbing movement makes a big difference to what you're doing. We'll just literally bit by bit just add. I'm not going to be adding lots of scales into this. I don't need lots of scales because it's a suggestion. There we are. but I do have to be happy with the piece at the end of the day. There we are. And I want a little bit of highlighting into there, and I might add a little bit of extra down his nose. There we are. So there we are. So if I go quiet, ladies, it'll be because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. And as I say, I'm not the world's best artist in the world, and that's absolutely fine, because I don't think you have to be. I think you should be able to create something that gives you joy, and with the skill set that you have. I am not a freehand painter, never have been, never will be. That's absolutely fine. You know, I think you just have to know where your skill set is, and then work with it and make the most of it. There we are. We'll just get rid of some of the layering and the texture on there. Blur that line in. And it's amazing what a little bit of pen work will do. That is for sure. We're going to have slightly darker bits down there. So let's just try and unify that mix a little bit more. Now then, there we are. So we're going to have a little bit of depth there, and we're going to have a little bit of depth there, and a little bit of depth there, and a little bit of depth there, underneath. And have I done it all round the right way? No, because actually this is moving round, it's curving, isn't it? So it doesn't need to be. And we'll just add some of that really dark rich red into there and blend those edges with that red, so that I don't have sharp edges. Oops, that wasn't the red I wanted to pick up, but never mind, we'll do that. There we are. Let's just cover, make sure he's covered. There we are. Now let's just take the orange, and it looks such a big different colour to the rest of it, but actually it will just soften. Oh, she says popping that in her hand into it, build some depth, build some texture, and literally just the dabbing of it in. It's not taking lots of effort, not having to be overworked, not hugely complicated, but it's just building into my piece some extra texture. You can see just by pouncing, softening off my edges, blending the colours on the piece, that it allows me to do this without too much difficulty. So let's just pop that into here, build your colour. Dark at the outside means it will drop back, the imagery will drop back. Pale at the palest in the centre, grade your colour through, and it will just help define the shapes for you, little by little by little by little. You find it's very unusual for me to be doing a project that's predominantly based on painting. As I say, if I can do this, so can you. Because this definitely is not my preferred skill set, but I think it's quite important, isn't it, to do things that are outside our comfort zone. It allows us to build, and with that we build our techniques, we build our confidence, and our confidence can then take us through into other parts of our life, which again I think is really, really important that we do that. There we are. There we are. Sorry, I'm conscious I've just gone very quiet. So we now have lots of texture, lots of detail. On my phone it's looking very orange, but it absolutely isn't very orange. It's definitely red. There are some areas that are orangey, but the whole piece is definitely red. So let's just take this piece and let's add some colours around to here on the same basis. From here, have I got a gold pen? Answers on a postcard? Possibly not, but hey ho. I've got some other things and other tricks up my sleeve. There we are, let's just pop some of that. They certainly do. They certainly do. And I just thought I would. They're just. It's a joy because it just sort of almost tells you where you need to work and where the definition is, and that just makes it really easy then to add the details. Wendy, I think, is a far better painter than I am. I've her samples some telly, I think, will be in the group somewhere. And her dragons were definitely more blues and greens, and there's a beautiful pale. The wedding couple lovebirds are just amazing, I have to say. Let me just blur those colours in together. They are just stunning. I love them. Love, love, love the wedding couple. The man with his top hat is just phenomenal. And let's just add a little bit of this orange into here. And work it through. Just add a little bit more detail. Nothing in nature is a completely flat colour, is it? So I do think it, again, this colour layering, the adding on, just makes such a huge difference to your finished pieces. So I've got a darker wing, which is what I wanted from there. So let me get rid of that pen, that brush, that brush, that brush. And we need, I think, she says, I'm gonna have, that's because the nozzle on that is out of it, which is not helpful. Let's pick up a nice brush with a nice brush, she says. That'll be interesting. Have we got any nice brush? Oh, that'll do, that's the nicest brush. And let me just put my hands in the red paint. So because why wouldn't you put your hands in the red paint? So let's just add a little bit of detail into there for the eye. just adding a reddy brown into the spots that are laser etched in, just a little bit, to build again, just to define them a bit more. And I'm going to add a little bit of black into there, just again, they're horns really, aren't they? But we've clearly got those very special ones up in there. So there we are. Now then, eeny meeny miny, let's go with, so this is metallic antique bronze, so that's going to allow me to add some metallic detail into my dragon. So I thought of think of Chinese dragons as being opulent. I don't know about anyone else, but to me there's an opulence about them. There we are. And I can see that I need to add a little bit of red just into there. So what colour eye do we want? Wow, shall we be a little monkey? Shall we be a little monkey? I think we might be a little monkey. I think we might go for, just because I can, a blue eye to add to the mystery, rather than it being completely white. There we are. So I'm actually quite happy with that for the moment. Let me just pop that into there. How's my knee? My knee is getting there. It's definitely better than it was. I can stand now. For some periods of time she's unblocking her glue. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It really isn't. But it could be a whole lot worse. That is for sure, for sure, for sure. Let me just pop that onto there. There we are. So that piece will sit onto there. Don't worry that I'm putting this piece onto here uninked. I have a plan. I'm using it as a spacer deliberately, but I don't want to put the piece on the top of it. So I'm going to pop that just out of the way, because I'm going to want that last of that paint back in a minute for something else. So we're going to come back to our board, which is now dried and is flat and is hopefully dry enough for the thing not to be a problem. So I can see I've got, I bought a nice new, nice tonic knife to make my life easier, and I'm not convinced it is, but hey ho, such is life. And I do actually have an emery board for edging this off with, so I will use that in a minute. Okay, that's those little bits. Far better to cut your paper bigger than you need than to have to then patch stuff that you don't, because it's too short. Oh, that's it, I've got that. Okie dokie. So let's just have a little addition, little bit of a sand down the edges of here. From here. Now, because I'm going to build my dragon under here with extra pieces, I am very much aware that some of this bit here may show, and I'm not going to replicate the paper. I'm literally just going to take some of this paint that I've got left, there we are, and just cover the edges so that if someone's looking underneath, it's not so obvious that my poor dragon is partly missing or is hollow headed, if that makes sense. It's just an illusion that I want. So there we are, that can go there, that can go there, that can go there, and let's give that a little waft dry, so I'm going to ink the edges. So remember, again, on Wendy's show the other day, there was an upright plaque, or a standing piece that also has a dragon that you can add like this. So if you don't want it to be a piece that mounts on the wall, then you don't need it. You can have it as a standalone piece without any problems. She says, itching her nose, very ladylike and very professional. Not. Let me just retrieve that's better. So I've now got, I'm using an archival ink, and I'm deliberately using that because I want a permanent based ink on here, and I'm just literally going to edge around it because it will be, again, it sort of gets rid of the white cut edge, but it also means that the piece looks a bit more finished, and that it draws your eyes into the piece rather than your eyes falling off the edge. And I'm not sure if that makes sense to people. I know in my head it does. It just, yeah. And again, I can add more afterwards, but I might need to have the whole piece a bit more dry than at the end of the live, before I add the last bits of this. So let's just. And I haven't got any rucks or wrinkles because of that trick of covering everything and adding the water. There we are. Now I've got my usual 25 tons of crap everywhere. Excuse me, sorry if that's an offensive word for anyone. And not enough room to work. And I have got a little bit of sparkle, but I might not put a little bit of sparkle on. So, there we are. Let us pick that up. So he is going to sit on to there, comme ça, but I'm not going to pop him straight on to there. So let's just build our composition. I want that underneath there, and that's why I painted that under there. I want my light bulb to be tucked under there. I want, and I'm happy for it to be coming off the page. I'm not worried about pieces necessarily coming off the page. I do want them to be supported, and that doesn't make sense. So I might do, no, I am going to do that. That goes there. Essentially that's the same piece, so that and that can go. I think I must have had it. Anyway, we'll get there. And because this is up in the air, I need now to support this. So that's going to go there. I'm just going to build my composition. Now all of these pieces worked in here earlier on before the live, so yeah, we just now need them to all sit together now. For whatever reasons the brain is not, they're not, there we are, that's because that's sitting underneath there. That's what we did. So that was sitting not there, not there. There we are. That can go there, that can go there, that can go there. Now where did I have that piece? Because I definitely had this piece in here. Maybe I went comme ça. We'll get there. We'll get there. I think. Maybe. We'll just have a little play. That can go there. That can go there. It's definitely not working. Okay. Wow. It all adds to the fun of life, because that has to go there. That has to go there. Maybe I had it further up. That's better, that's better, that's better, that's better, that's better, that's better. It's this one I'm struggling with. I know why, because clearly I've got, there we are. I'm fairly sure I had one up and one down, but not like that, so maybe I had it like that. Maybe we'll just play. I'm sorry ladies, we'll just have a little play and see where we go. So that piece can anchor that, comme ça. That can anchor onto there, that can anchor onto there. Do we like that? And that piece can just sit onto there. Cool. So that's now, it wasn't the original layout, that is for certain, but hey ho, that's just part of life. Where's that black archive link? Good evening, Liz. How to drain your dragon. Yeah, absolutely. There we are. So he's going to go onto there, like that. So wherever you go, there you are. So I think that's very appertain, isn't it? Well, it doesn't really matter, Liz. It doesn't really matter. We all have different things to do in this world. And I have a feeling that I might have been struggling because I had that a little higher, but hey ho. Right, so let us just add, and this is just MDF glue, ladies. It's nothing clever, nothing fancy about this. So that, my dragon is going to go there. The light bulb can sit there. That squashed him. I've got a picture. That's never a problem. But Karen, when I'm doing the live, my picture is on the phone that I'm following my comments with. You know, because that's what it goes. You don't need to promise, my darling. Yeah, we all have busy lives. I'm just grateful that anyone should choose to join me of an evening. It is lovely to have friends joining. I'm not going to hide and say it isn't, because it clearly is. But I'm also very conscious that we all have other lives and other bits to do. No, I never print out pictures, darling. Never print out pictures. Right, let's pop that one in. And that actually, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, I build the compositions even on the lives until I'm happy with the piece that I like. So I'm not mithered if it changes. There we are. That's better. That is better. Yeah, so it doesn't worry me that I might be changing what I'm doing, because I build the composition until I'm happy with it regardless. Steve may just sit in the garden for the blue. Well, I just hope you enjoyed your brew, my darling. I just hope you enjoyed it. So what I'm doing by doing this is I'm, you know, positioning my pieces, and then I can work out where I'm going to need to build additional support. But my dragon is being supported in amongst this, and I know that I had some bits of paper from the collection So I'm just going to pop some of these in. These are from Vagabond in Japan, actually, I think, rather than anything else. Let's get the lettering up the right way. So we're just going to pop some Chinese words into there. So they're underneath there. I'll pop that there. Yeah, we might just do that there. So, you know, I don't think, well, you could, I suppose, get it exactly the same, but every time you build it, but yeah, that's never my worry with when I'm doing things like this. As I say, I build it until I'm happy with the composition that I've got. So I'm going to add that into there, and I'll have a piece of it showing maybe. So let's just edge it with a bit more of the black into here. So that can go there. Oopsie daisy. And that piece can then sit there. There we are. He's sitting like that, he's sitting like that. We'll have an extra cog onto there so it doesn't look like that is finishing in free air. I've got a plan to fill that in. We've got another bit here. So let's just pop that where we want it. See, even now we've got it changed. I'll pop hit that. Don't know, I do want it up a way, so let's just pop that with some glue into here, over to there. I can pop that onto there, so it's not completely free forming. Go there, that can go there. Now I had two, I know I had 2 half pieces, but clearly 2 half pieces is not, is it upright, is it downside? Who knows, who knows, who knows, who knows. We might just pop. I always manage to lose a piece of paper when I'm doing live, so there we are. Let's just move this onto air, and hopefully it'll then be in shot. That needs to go that way because it's, otherwise the characters will definitely be up there. No need to be sorry, no need to be sorry at all, because we all have busy days. I've got some yucky glue underneath there. Let me just get rid of it. The problem with PVA glue is it dries shiny, and that's a right flipping pain in the bloody proverbial arse, because it just makes a mess. So even when I really hate it when you get told that glues dry clear, because they do dry clear, but they also, most of them will dry shiny, and that's not, no, that's definitely, you see, I used to live in Hong Kong, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so we need more than 4 bits of that. See, that's the correct way that for that character to sit. So let's just pop that underneath there. Straighten it up. Can go over there. Cool. Right, excellent. So we've clearly got a big space in here, and I can fill that in one of several ways. So let's see what waste scrap we've got lurking. That is going to be small enough to sit in there. That might work. That will work. So these are literally just canvas space, the canvas stretchers. So if you don't use them as canvas stretchers, which I think most of us don't, they make great spacers or space fillers. There we are. So that's just going to fill that space up nicely, and then I can pop glue on these bits. That bit's going to be covered. Some of that's covered. We'll just add squiggly bits of glue all over here. So a goodly amount, and it's going to touch where it touches, because I know some of that isn't going to be in touch. And then I can line my dragon up with its underwing. There we are. Cool. And let's just take some water. It's going to be mucky water, because mucky water is what I've got. And let's just lift off some of this. And where did I put it? There we are. So we've got, this is just literally a 3D paint pen. So let me just turn this round. Can you see? I think you probably can. It's getting darker in here, but I'm just going to add. So these are the rivets that are laser etched in. That I'm just filling the gaps in. They aren't on all of them, so that's fine. You could pop them on all of them. That's again absolutely fine. I actually think I do want a few more, because it's overlapping. And I think that works for me better with the extra riveting in. So yeah, again, add what you want. Just because there's a plan or a route doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stick to it religiously. As I say, I've decided I wanted a bit more rivety detail, just to highlight my pieces a bit more. There we are. So what have we got? I can see that I need a little bit more black ink. I've got some splodge dots up here that I haven't added colour to. Let me just add. Okay. So, where is aha, there we are. So this is just a King Art ink pen, and I can now just add back my details, following in the etched lines. Some of it I might have to do off camera, particularly where I've added the extra pieces. So there is our arm. just add, and I think you'll find it's, you know, it is so amazing what just adding in a little bit of pen work does to your finished piece. Now I'm just cleaning those up, adding it in, because suddenly your piece comes to light and the areas become defined. There we are. So there we are. Now then, she says, I know we've got a snout. There we are. And we've got another bit there, I think. There we are. Cool. So let's just neaten you up a little bit. There. Oops, she says. So I'm going to do some of these pieces off camera. Let me just clear that splodge that I've made. I might need to add some brown black on more onto that. So the outlining of these pieces I will leave until those are dry, because I can't actually get in there safely at the moment without splodging it. And we are, but we can add that into there. And we'll just add some little bits of texture wherever I feel like it. Again, it doesn't have to be precise, and I could add these as white, but actually I think for this purposes of this, the black is working better than the rest would have done. So there we are. There we are. So hopefully we'll just define that hand a little bit more so it looks a bit less. And I'm told Japanese dragons have 3 claws and Chinese ones have 4. Whoever knew that? So it probably would, Karen. It probably would. I'm a great believer in using what you have and getting the most out of your things. I probably do have some good old graphics somewhere around, but hey ho. So if I bring this up to the camera, we've now got our red dragon. Wherever you go, there you are, which of course is apatane, isn't it? Because it's very true. With all of our textures, we've got wrought iron effect, we've got some rust, and we've got our oriental looking dragon. So I hope that that has been an enjoyable live, and that you've all enjoyed watching me having fun, making a mess, playing along, because that's what life's about. And I'm going to say good night for now, ladies. Please stay safe, enjoy whatever you're going to do tomorrow. And for the rest of the weekend, I am away next weekend at Carfest, so I'm not too sure whether Sam's going to be able to do a live then or not. We'll have a conflab and we'll see if we can sort something out. May end up being a midweek live for me at some point, because I'm away quite a lot. So take care of you. You'll be live next weekend. Lovely. That'd be fantastic. And then the following weekend I'm also away, Sam, but I'll try and go live on the Thursday of that week before travelling. So good night everyone, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend.